Which you guys got another video here for you on how to configure Windows 11 Home for gaming and privacy. So I made a video on Windows 11 Pro, and a lot of Windows 11 Home users were complaining in the comments section saying they don't have group policy editor. So I'm going to show you a video on how to do this with Windows 11 Home. You can also do this with Windows 10 Home and basically use this method to basically block a lot of this telemetry and data collecting, and also lower the system usage on your system by doing a lot of these settings. I'll show you step by step all the way through here. You can see we don't have a group policy editor in Windows 10 or Windows 11 Home, and that's because it doesn't come bundled with it. Now, this way of I'm going to show you is a real easy way, and it will be as similar to the Windows 11 Pro versions. So all you need to do is download Policy Plus. It's a free download from GitHub, and once you go to the latest section here, you will be able to download the Policy Plus executable. So let's go ahead and do that, and once we've got that, we can click on the file and open it up. So you may see here publisher unknown. That's okay. We're going to say yes here, and this pop-up message is basically saying Home editions don't come with the full set of policy definitions. Would you like to download them right now? This can also be done later with help, and you can acquire the ADMX files by saying yes. So we're going to say yes here, and we're going to download all of these. So it's going to download these to our Windows/policy definitions. So I'm going to click on begin, and it's going to download these to that location. So this is going to be the same as all our group policy definitions that we have for Windows 11 Pro and Windows 10 Pro and above. So now that's downloaded, what we can do here is we can now start to make some group policy changes using Policy Plus, just like you would in the Pro versions. Now, of course, you're going to be doing this all at your own risk because you are making changes to the operating system and making registry changes, and this is going to block a lot of stuff. So make sure you understand what you're doing. So first off, app privacy. Let's start off here. Now, we need to basically force deny all of these apart from, I would say, the microphone. So all you need to do is open it up, say enable, and go force deny. And this will deny any of these policies right here. Now, these are all your location, your email, your messaging, your motion, your notifications, your tasks, and all the other stuff. So I'm going to go through here. I'm not going to show you the whole process, but I've done all of these now apart from my microphone. And obviously, if you want your camera, don't do the camera. That is what you got to do here. So just leave them not configured for microphone, and that will give you access to the microphone, and you can just toggle off what you don't need. So basically, I've gone ahead and done all of these ahead of time here. So let's go ahead and just show you force deny, and that's what you need to do here. Once you've done all of these, we can move on to the next step. Now, the beauty of these is these can be reversed. So we're going to go ahead and do cloud content next. And again, there's a lot of stuff inside here that needs to be either enabled or disabled, and you need to read the little messages on the screen. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I'm just going to show you some of them here, but you can go through here and you can see this one is saying if you enable this policy, settings, users will no longer see the Windows tips. So we're going to enable that feature because we don't want people seeing the Windows tips. And that's how you do it. You basically just follow what's in the actual description. And again, this one here, do not suggest third-party content in Windows Spotlight. And if we enable this policy, it's not going to suggest it. So let's go ahead and do that. And we just need to go through all of these, which are to do with the cloud content. Now, this one is do not use diagnostic data for tailored experiences. This will be telemetry. And again, if we enable this policy, it's basically will not use it. So that's what we need to do here. And what you need to do is go through all of these for the ones that you want to turn off and turn on and disable and enable. And this is what you're going to have to do through all of the policies. Now, you can do this with a lot of scripts, and this is what scripts will do. Scripts will enable and disable a lot of this stuff automatically for you. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you any control over what you're disabling and enabling because it's a script. It will just run, okay? Now, with this method, you can go through here and it will take a bit of time, but once it's done, you can save these settings and export them And that means you can, when you format your PC, you can just import these settings and it will go back to exactly how it was. These settings will not be changed whatsoever during a Windows update. They will stay as they are because they are policy settings. So even after a Windows update, they will be exactly the same as what you set them to. Now, it goes without saying, if you use Spotlight or any of this stuff, then obviously you might want to change some of these settings to your liking. And this is the difficult part with tweaking Windows. It's basically everyone has different preferences. So just go through here yourself through each section and basically enable and disable some of the stuff that you do and you don't want. And that's exactly how you can do it. So we've done the cloud content here. Let's see what's next here. So this one is do not allow this PC to be projected to. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to disable this feature, but if you use this feature, then by all means, don't touch it. Leave it as not configured. But if you're a gamer, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be using this feature. So I'm going to enable this because that means it's not going to be discoverable. And that's exactly what we want. So the required pin for pairing as well, you can set this to always, or you can disable it depending on what you want to do, or just not configure it if you want to still use this feature. You only configure these when you want to either disable or set it to a certain setting. It's that simple. So let's leave this one here as disabled, and we'll just quickly apply this. And again, we can now come down to something else. And there's quite a few here, so I'm going to go through some of these, but you can go through here with a lot more time. Data collection and preview builds. This is where you're going to get a lot of telemetry. So let's go ahead and disable all of this telemetry. And you can do that via going to this method here, and you can see enable, and it says 0 security enterprise only. Read what it says on the actual side bit here, and it will tell you exactly what settings are what and what it will send back to Microsoft. Again, this is going to be a time-consuming affair. You need to read what it says, go into here, and basically disable and enable some of these. So I'm going to go ahead and allow commercial data pipeline. We don't want to allow that, so I'm going to disable that feature. And you can read all the information right there. I've been through this process many times, so I know exactly what to enable and what to disable. So I'm going to go ahead and disable this feature as well because it's allow desktop analytics processing, and we don't want to allow that. And you can read the information right there saying if we disable it, it's not going to process it. Same thing for this one here. If we disable or do not configure this policy, this device name will not be sent to Microsoft. So there you go, right? It says it right there. So let's go ahead and configure the rest of these. Let's go through the next one here, and you can see this one here is going to be disabled because it tells me right here if we disable it or it's not configured, this policy setting diagnostic data from your device will not be processed. And that's exactly what we want to do here. So next up, we've got a bunch of other ones under here, like the configure ones. And again, you will need to click on these and change the settings on these. So you can see enabled, and now we can say disable authenticated proxy usage. And if you read the message, it will tell you exactly what that actually does. Now for the next one, it's disable deleted diagnostic data, and we want to enable this one. So it's a bit confusing because we go from disable to enable, and it can be confusing. So make sure you just read those little message prompts there, and it will tell you what that means. So we've done this one here, and again, we can enable this one and basically disable the telemetry opt-in settings. So we're going to do that as well. And I've gone ahead and done all of the other configs as well. There's a bunch of them in here. So I've gone ahead and enabled the disabled health tips, and I'm also going to be coming down here, and we're going to probably end up enabling this feature, which will disable that feature. So turn off tracking on app usage, and we're going to enable that. And we also have the allow edge swipe here. So we want to make sure we disable that as well. So let me just have a quick look at some of these other ones here. So you can read through these at your own leisure. There's a few. So just go through and read some of the actual descriptions on these. And some of them you can actually leave. So let me go ahead, and we want to disable this feature. So let me do that one right there. And next up, what we're going to do is move over to the left-hand side and go to another area. And now there's quite a few areas here to go for, like Find My Device. Again, turn on or turn off Find My Device. So we're going to disable this feature. And that now is done. And again, we just need to go through each section here. So you get the general idea, like file history. And we have this one here, allow message services for cloud sync. I'm going to disable that because I don't want it. And again, we're just going to pick something else here on the left-hand side here. Let's see what else we got. This one right here, Microsoft Defender Antivirus. And we're going to go into Maps here, and it says join Microsoft Maps. And we want to enable that feature and then disable because we don't want to join it. Now, if you want to disable the antivirus software on here altogether, you can do. There is an actual group policy for that as well. If you plan on using another antivirus program, it goes without saying that you do need an antivirus program. No matter how clever you think you are, you just need to have some sort of form of protection. But you can disable it in here as well with some group policies. I'd also mention that you want to have smart screen and things like that enabled because they are going to keep you safe when you're surfing the web. So if you do want to enable some of this stuff and disable some of this stuff, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to leave these as is because I'm only just going to do that one setting there because it's a privacy setting. But other than that, we'll move on to other areas inside the policy here. There's another area here. You can basically go into user experience virtualization and you can choose whether you want to opt in or out of that as well. And net meeting, again, this one here, we've got some other areas here that we can deal with. You can see disable chat and a bunch of other ones inside here. If you want to configure these, you can do. Also, you have the remote desktop service as well, which you can mess around with and make some changes here. If you're not going to be doing any sort of remote support or any of that stuff on your system or allow any remote connections to it, you can disable all these features and have them completely disabled so no one can come in or out of your computer. It's great to block scammers as well and stop people from forcing you to download stuff and installing it. So this is the other one here, improve inking and typing recognition. Again, goes without saying, this is another data collection type of service that Microsoft like to employ on you, and it's embedded in the system. And you would have to turn it off from here, and this will basically make it a policy and stop it from data collecting. And so we're going to leave this one here. This is for uninstalling language features, and we're going to leave that as is. And we'll just go through some other ones on here as well. Now, this is the Windows error reporting section. Again, a lot of people like turning this off, but it is quite useful for troubleshooting. But if you don't want to be nagged with error reports and things like that, or you're fearful of data being sent back to Microsoft because it does send information back to Microsoft, then you can disable all of the Windows error reporting and do not send additional data back to Microsoft by changing all of these policies right here. So go through here with a fine-tooth comb and disable and enable which ones you want to in the Windows error reporting section. There's quite a few of them to go through here, so just go through which ones you want to enable and disable. And you'll see them right here. This one right here can be disabled. And again, I'm not going to walk you right away through step by step, holding your hand through here. It goes without saying, if you don't understand some of this stuff, then maybe you shouldn't be messing around in here in the first place. But if you do understand it and you can read a little bit, then just read what it says there and basically enable or disable those features. Pretty straightforward. Let's move on to another section here, which is the Windows Update section. Now, you can't see it on the list there because I've zoomed right in, but let me just zoom out a little bit here. Again, you can allow some of these settings. This is for Cortana and Cloud Search and all your Windows search and web search. If you don't want any of this stuff, then by all means disable it. I mean, allowing web search and things like that is entirely up to you. Also, preventing indexing of Microsoft Office Outlook and attachments. This is going to send back information to Microsoft. If you don't want them seeing all your attachments in your emails, then by all means turn those off. But again, you've got some other things here like allow search for Cortana and use of location and things like that. This one here is another one that you can enable and obviously then disable inside here. Some of them are enable and then disable on the setting itself. So just go through each one of them and work out which ones you want to disable. I'm going to basically be disabling all of this Cortana stuff because it is embedded in here. They are going to give us the ability to uninstall Cortana, they say, but whether that removes everything, I really don't know. I wouldn't trust it, and I would just turn it off because I've never used Cortana ever since it was introduced into Windows. So if you want to turn that stuff off, then this is how you can do it inside the group policy, or policy plus, I should say. And we'll disable cloud search here as well. And once we've done all of these, there's quite a few here, so I'm not going to go through every one of these because we'll be here for over an hour and people haven't got an attention span of an hour. So let's go ahead and finish this off. Now I've configured all of those now. You can watch the full video, the ultimate tweaking version for group policy. I've already made that video for Windows 11 and Windows 10 Pro versions, but it means the same thing here for Policy Plus. You just have to do all those settings here. Now, active help, I'm going to disable this one, turn it off. And we also want to do Windows updates here. Now, Windows updates has also an area which is going to automatically update and do an immediate installation of all these updates. And I don't want that to happen because if you're gaming, you don't want to be disturbed by updates in the background and all of a sudden restarting your PC. And you want to be able to control that a little bit more here. So we're not going to be doing that. We're going to disable that feature of automatically install those. We want to manually do that. And it also means as well, I don't want automatic updates to come down and be installed automatically. So we're going to configure automatic updates here. We're going to enable this feature and we can change the configure automatic updating right here. And you can choose whatever one you like here, depending on how you like to set yours up. But I'm going to say auto download and notify to install and notify to restart my PC. But you can choose whichever one you like in this list here. But that's the one I like to use myself. But again, everyone will have their own different preferences. And you can also have it set for a certain time of the day and schedule that for a different time of night when you're offline, and leave your PC on and it'll automatically do it while you're asleep if that's what you want to do. So let me go ahead and configure this the way I like doing it here, and we can click OK here, and that will be that one set. Now, file history and Windows backup, if you're not going to use those, you can turn those features off inside here as well. So I'm going to turn off file history because I'm not going to be using it, and this will stop that service from running and disable everything. So we can do that right here. And again, let's go do some other ones here as well, which are pretty common. Let me have a look inside here. You've got location and sensors there. That will be all the location sensors for Windows, which will be your geolocation, and you can turn all those off as well. Clipboard history, another one. People like to use clipboard history. I personally don't like using the actual clipboard history itself, because obviously it's going to be sending this information back, and this could be sensitive information that you don't want to be sent back. So you can turn this off if you want to by disabling clipboard history. But if you use that feature and you want it, then don't touch it. Leave it well alone. It's that simple. Again, storage sense. Some people are a bit paranoid about having storage sense scan their files and clean their files. And some people think that the information is being sent back to Microsoft. So if you do want to disable storage sense and use another particular type of cleaner to clear out all your temporary internet files, by all means you can do. So you can see here on how to disable storage sense right here, and this will disable it, and it will stop it running and stop it working, and you won't have access to it because it will be locked. And that's how you can do that right here. So you can set this up how you like. So I'm going to turn it off for this video just to show you. And also you can disable system restore as well. If you don't want that to be enabled, you can turn it off, and you can do that inside your Policy Plus settings here. So let me quickly see if we can find that and turn that off as well so you can see it. Here it is right here. And we can see it. It's under the turn off configuration, and we can disable this and also turn off system restore. So they can't tamper with the configuration and they can't turn it back on. So if you want to do that, you can do. And once you've got all these settings done, you can create an image as well, a Windows image, if you wanted to, with all these settings already in place. That would be another thing you can do. Remote Assistant, again, this is another thing that you can configure. If you don't want any sort of remote assistant, you can turn all this off and disable it inside here with all your settings. So I'm going to go ahead and configure some of this, and we'll just work our way through some of these settings here. So let me go ahead and read some of this stuff, and we can configure it. So this one will probably need to be enabled, and then we need to say disable here by the looks of it. There we go. So because that was saying allow helpers to remote control the computer, and we don't want to do that. So what we want to do here is turn all this stuff off. And again, we can do this one here, restrict unauthenticated RPC clients, and you can do none. And there we go. And we can apply this and OK. And basically, once that's done, we can move on to the last few here. I'm not going to spend too much time tweaking the whole of this system on video, but you can watch some of the other video that I created. This is your power plan settings, your power management. You can force it to have a certain power plan if you wanted to, if you're using the certain code here, or you can set it as an active power plan right up here and click on enable and choose, it says recommended here, or you can do high performance because I know everyone likes to have it on there. And if you want to use ultra performance and force it, you can do. But basically that is that set there. And there's a bunch of other stuff like power throttling and things like that. We definitely want to change that as well. And you can see here, it will tell you what to do right on the right hand side here. So let's enable that feature. So I've gone through all of the settings now. What I'm going to do is we're going to restart the system. So, and save these settings. You need to save these settings before you close the Policy Plus. Otherwise, if you don't, these settings will reset back to default. So it's important that you do this, okay? I've gone through here and I've changed all of these policies, the OS policies. I've changed everything. So go File, Save Policies, and you should see success. The policies now have been saved to disk. We can now restart the system, and once we restart, we'll get back to the desktop and I'll show you basically what's happened after we've changed all of these settings. So just quickly reboot the PC, and we should get back to the desktop very quickly. There we go. Now we haven't finished yet. What we can do is we can do some other things, but let me just quickly show you here what's been changed here. Inside the settings here, we can go privacy and security. And a lot of this stuff has now been turned off. As you can see here, it's been policied to turn off. And you can see some of these settings are managed by your organization. So a lot of this stuff, even the storage sense is now not working, and it's not going to be sending any information back. And all of this stuff has been completely disabled, as you can see, with the Policy Plus. So it does work. And someone said in the last comments that Policy Plus doesn't work, and I think you was doing it wrong, because it does work just like Group Policy does. And this is all the scripts do, really. They just turn a lot of this stuff off. Now, granted, scripts are a lot faster to use, but obviously more risk involved. Now, the microphone, like I told you, we've left on, and you can come in here, configure this how you like, and turn off what you don't want, like Cortana and other stuff. And basically just enable some of the things you want, like Discord and a camera and things like that, and that should be fine. All your settings have now been configured. Active history or activity history has been done. And these are just mainly a lot of the bloat that runs in the background, background apps and things like that. All of the calendar has been taken out as well. So you can see here, we've got a lot of this stuff that's been disabled. So let me just quickly show you here the diagnostic feedback here has all been taken care of. And again, all of these features are now off. And there's a bunch of other stuff as well that's been configured here. And like power plan, let me just quickly show you the power plan here so we can see. There you go, high performance. It's already been set. And that's it. It's pretty straightforward. Now, if you've got a laptop, you can also configure that in the Group Policy or Policy Plus. You can do all that as well. Now, you can take this a step further and use a script or something like that. I've got my own Britec batch file here, which I could run on here. And again, this will give me options to remove a lot of other stuff that I want to remove from here, and also make changes that I can do via a script here. So let me just quickly run this quickly. And this is going to remove all of the bloat, like programs and things like that, uninstall all of the applications that I don't need, and remove a lot of the other stuff, which saves me having to do it manually. And you can do this yourself. You can see a lot of this stuff online. You can do it still manually, uninstall a lot of stuff, but this will take care of a lot of other settings and remove a lot of the other stuff that is embedded into the computer itself. And again, people have asked me to share this. I was going to share it, but amount of trolls that I got in the comment section saying I'm contradicting myself. So I never bothered sharing it in the end, because you can thank those trolls in the comment section for ruining it for people that wanted it. Unfortunately, I worked quite a long time getting this exactly how you wanted it. But of course, you always get those people in the comment section saying things like that, which obviously I haven't got time for. So I'm not going to bother sharing it with people because it's just not worth the backlash. And just to clarify, I make tutorials on how to do things, even though I wouldn't recommend doing them. This is the thing. I don't recommend people running scripts themselves or batch files. I've always said that, but some people want it and they do want to run it. So I make videos showing you how to do it. It doesn't mean that I'm telling you to do it. I'm just showing you how to do things, because my channel is solely a tutorial channel on how to do things. So there you go. Hope that answers all the trolls' questions. So let me just quickly restart the system, and these should be then put into place, and you'll see the difference once we reboot the PC and get back to the desktop. So that's now done, and let me just quickly show you here so you can see some of the other settings here, and then I'll show you the task manager settings, so you'll be able to see the processes and stuff like that once you've turned all this stuff off. So let me go ahead and right click here, and we'll go to the settings here in system, and then we can go in here and you can see project this PC and remote desktop. They're all off. You won't be able to use any of this stuff. It's all been turned off here. So if you're running a bit of a potato PC, a really old system, then doing this is essential to obviously take a lot of utilization off of the CPU. And you can see here we've got 89 processes running here. Utilization is pretty low. And again, this is on a virtual machine as well. But I'm just showing you exactly what the memory usage here is. And again, you can get this with your Windows 11 Home or Windows 10 Home systems by using Policy Plus. And again, I'm pretty sure that you can source your own script to remove a lot of the programs. It's pretty straightforward. And services, disabling services, or you can use one of those other applications out there that's plenty available if you want to do that. If you don't want to do that and you just want to stick with Policy Plus, by all means do so. But again, that is the end result here for Windows 11 Home. That's how you can do it on a home-based system, whether it be Windows 10 or Windows 11. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments section below. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.